So I'll, in the meantime,
Oops.
just introduce our speakers and myself. My name is Paloma. I'm the community manager here at Maven. I moved to Portugal about 3 years ago. I came originally as a student to study my master's degree here, and then I really just fell in love with Lisbon and I decided to stay. And so my experience here has been really great. I've really enjoyed getting to know the city, getting to know the country, and it's been a wonderful time. So also, if you have any questions, if you're looking to relocate, you can also direct those towards me. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of different topics into how Portugal has kind of evolved into the place it is today, a little bit about the history and where we see the market going. There will also be opportunity to answer any questions in the end. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom call, so you can type your questions in throughout the presentation, and we'll try and get to them all by the end. Time here, before I had moved here, I was really drawn to the culture, the climate. I'm originally from the US. I'm from South Florida, so I was not looking to really be anywhere too cold. And in my short time here, I really like fell in love with that. I found it incredibly easy to acclimate. The community was very strong. There's a really strong international community here, and that makes things a bit easier when you're integrating. There is an incredibly high quality of life. This is also very different from what I had previously experienced before. It's incredibly safe. Not only is this good for people who are looking to live here, but especially good for people looking to invest here and especially in real estate. Now, you're also going to find a very English-friendly community here. So when you're working with professionals, when you're working with service providers, you should have no issues with translation. Most people do speak English. Of course, when you get further away from the cities, it becomes a little bit more challenging, but for the most part, it's great. And for those looking to relocate, I still always recommend learning a bit of Portuguese. It goes a really long way. But it's a very welcoming country, very strong international community. And this is all contributing to a really strong quality of life and why so many people are looking to relocate here, looking to buy property here. So Jonathan is going to tell us a little bit about kind of the history of Portugal and how this market has grown.
Hi, Paloma. Hi, everybody. As Paloma mentioned, I'm the CEO of Maven. I arrived to Portugal about 15 years ago. And of course, it's not a representation, but the photo. But Portugal that I came to more than a decade and a half ago was quite different of what it is today. So it was still a super charming country in the south of Europe, but it was somehow, I would say, sleepy, maybe a bit frozen in time. There was, I would say, thousands of empty apartments in Lisbon, hundreds of empty buildings in Porto. There were very little international, cafes and restaurants and clubs and so on. So it was really very sleepy country, I would say. And then something happened, and then came 2013 with its economical crisis, and then something happened. Paloma, please, next slide. In 2013, this is my analysis, but I would say that in this year, the Portuguese people, let's say, decided that they need to step up. It was kind of a wake-up call, and many things changed after that year. To name a few, there was a new tax regime that was much more forward, much better for investments. There was a reduced VAT on construction works. There was new regulation regarding tenants, that until that point the regulation was much more inclinated towards the tenants, and from that on it was much more inclinated towards the landlords. Started the golden visa program. Portugal became a hub of digital nomads. Many small steps that suddenly Portugal became a trend. Suddenly, a lot of tourists, suddenly, a lot of foreign investors. Suddenly, Portugal is on the news. Next slide, please, Paloma. And suddenly, we started to open the newspapers in different parts of the world. I came here from Berlin, and we saw these kind of headlines that Portugal is the new California of Europe. Now, of course, this is just a title. Some people will say, no, Portugal is the Florida of Europe, where people are spending their pension years, their retirement years in Portugal, like we have today from Northern Europe. Places like Sweden or Holland or Germany or from the UK, that a lot of people come here to retire. But I would say that the thing of Florida of Europe is kind of caught the attention of many people. My own analysis is that Portugal has a relatively innovative economy. And when you talk about Southern Europe, you are talking about this Latin, let's say, lifestyle of going to the beach, drinking a beer, having parties, having wine and cheese and fish and so on, a long siesta. But this is usually come with a cost. It comes with a cost of, I would say, a lazy economy. What I think that happens in Portugal is that let's say the southern European lifestyle, together with the innovative economy, put together a mix that was very interesting for a lot of people, especially for people that wanted to relocate or investors, of course. Please, for the next slide. So when I came here at about 2010, there was about 300,000 foreigners in Portugal, and now we are already at about 1.6 million. This is a huge change. We are talking about a population of about 10 million people. So we are talking about 16% of the population that is currently foreign, or let's say becoming Portuguese. But this is not a regular immigration. This is not a regular relocation. More than 50% of the new immigrants are people with some kind of wealth. Please, to the next slide. Portugal is a hub of wealth migrations. So people come here. So after the Brexit, came a lot of people. Brazilians, wealthy Brazilians, started to relocate to Portugal, and suddenly Portugal became a place that wealthy people are relocate to. They are starting a business here. They are buying real estate here, and so on. And this is, of course, make a very big effect on the economy. We are, as Paloma mentioned, we are doing a property management. We have buildings in the center of Lisbon, let's say, that we 6 or 8 apartments, and in each apartment there is a tenant from a different nationality. So you can see that it's really become a very cosmopolitan environment, very cosmopolitan country. In the school of my daughter, there was a party the other day, and I couldn't locate even one couple that both of the couple are Portuguese. It was usually Portuguese with somebody else. Please, to the next slide. Um, yeah, the next slide, Paloma, please. Thank you. So, what our clients are buying these days? I would say that we have three main hubs of real estate investment in Portugal. You can see the star in the middle. This is the metropolitan area of Lisbon, by far the biggest metropolitan in Portugal. 3 million people lives here. It's about third of the population. The center of Lisbon, now the prices are reaching the average price, reaching €6,000 per square meter. So of course, for let's say a two-bedroom apartment of 100 square meter, average will be €600,000. The other main hub is Porto in the north. Porto is the second biggest metropolitan. You can see that it's much cheaper than Lisbon. Very charming city, much smaller, very close to the Douro River with its wineries and green environment, also very popular. And the other large hub is Algarve. This is the southern part of Portugal, which this is mainly for tourism or people that are having a second house there. So if you go very close to the beach, you can find mansions of 5 million euros. If you go a little bit further away, you can have a very nice house with, let's say, four-bedroom house with a nice swimming pool and a jacuzzi for, let's say, 600 or 800,000 euros. The Algarve area is very, very popular with people from the UK, people from, of course, Germany, or in the last few years, we see more and more and more North Americans as well that are coming to the region. Next slide, please. So as you can see, there is a very big difference between the main cities like Lisbon and Porto and outside of the cities. Usually, our clients, if they will buy something for their own use, so all Portugal is open, people are falling in love with an area, they will ask us to look for a house there, and we are doing that. A lot of other clients are just asking us to buy them apartments for investments, okay, just to put on the rental market. And then usually it will be in the suburbs of Lisbon, in the suburbs of Porto. And those people will typically will take a mortgage. You can get a mortgage of up to 70% in Portugal for foreigners, and they will buy 2, 3, 4 apartments for them to have yield for investments. Next slide, please. So I would say that basically today to start investing in Portugal, you will need about a capital of 100,000 euros. Most of the apartments that you will find will be above 200,000. I'm talking here about own capital because, as I said, most of our clients anyway will take a mortgage. The banks here are very open to mortgages, and also I would say for a foreign investor to buy here with a mortgage, you also always feel a little bit more safe because you have a big partner that is that basically is a partner in your investments. When we are talking about central location, the center of Porto or the center of Lisbon, usually the yield will be about 3 to 5% gross. When you go to the suburbs, a little bit further away from the center, we will see a typical yield of 5% to 7%. Now, of course, the prices of the rents are always going higher. So I would say that those yields you can see in the first 2 years, maybe 3 years. After that, of course, it will go up as the prices of rents are going higher as well. For flips, if you want to buy an apartment or a building, you want to flip it, usually it will be 15% easily, I will say, in less than 1 year. For the real estate development amongst you, your profit for real estate development will be above 20% annually, IRR, again, easy. And for hospitality, meaning usually Airbnb, okay, this is very, but usually we are talking about touristic places like Algarve or in the city centers, and between 6 to 12%. So this is, I would say, it's kind of a resume of the numbers that you can achieve these days in Portugal. If you did any research of the investment in Portugal, you know, or you can see that we are quite conservative with the numbers that we provide. And a great deal of our work is to work on your behalf, being a buyer agent. You call us, you talk to Paloma, somebody else from the team, you tell us, okay, I'm looking for a villa in the north by a winery, and I want to use it for myself once a year and rent it for an Airbnb, for example. Very well, we have the team and we will look it for you. And of course, in the meantime, we will do all the other process of the purchase, or the legal purchase, or the legal process, the mortgage process, and so on. So we are here for you. If you have any questions, we are here to answer. Back to you, Paloma. We cannot hear you. You need to turn on your microphone.
Paloma is looking for the micro.
Okay. So we're gonna hear from Miguel. He is our head of our project management division. He's also a professor at the university here in Lisbon. Knows everything there is to know really about what it takes to build a successful project here in Portugal, especially with the different municipalities, the different regulations, permits. So also if you have any questions regarding creating a project while he is presenting, you can send them in at the bottom and we'll answer them at the end.
Okay, can I start, Paloma?
Of course.
Okay, so thank you all for being here with us. Very shortly, because Jonathan talks a lot about the main thing, the main important things, and about the trends that we today have in Portugal. So there is a lot of people coming here. In fact, we are having so much success that today we have a problem, and the problem means an opportunity. So this is kind of a story. It's going to be a very simple story. I'm not going to be going through all the things that is written because that you can read after. But in fact, what is happening today is that the tourism has in fact been growth all the time. So today, like it was on the previous slides, we have something like 30 millions of tourists per year, which is a huge, with an amount every year. We have in this year, in fact, we have 5%, but some of the years is even more than 5%. So we are also getting to today the new Lisbon International Airport, which is already on the permits, which is we're going to increase even more the tourism. And well, if you read all of the newspapers, all of the magazines about trending cities, where places where to go, places where to visit, places where to live, you're going to see that Portugal and Porto, Lisbon, the main cities, are almost all the time ranking among the Europe's most attractive cities to live. It's not only to live, it's not only for tourism, as I'm going to tell you after. It's also about tech, real estate, industry, and also renewals. Paloma, can you go, please? So we are having, a lot of things take us to think in Europe and in Portugal that we need to have reindustrialization because we were too much dependent on China and also other countries. So we need to start thinking about doing our own stuff. And Portugal, because we are not only in real estate about buildings to live, we are also about industry. We are also about finding places to put industry, to put data centers, to put renewals. We are also looking and making projects in these typologies. But in fact, is today, for example, in Sinj, we have a huge cluster that is bringing to Portugal some of the big investments in all Europe. We have, in fact, something like 25 billion euros of investment coming to Sinj, which I would say is the biggest place of investments in Europe today. So this is very important because it's bringing also a lot of people, tech people also to work here, which brings the need for new places to live. And of course, new places also to put industries. This is not only happening in Sinj, since this is in fact a case study, but is happening all through Portugal. For example, in Lisbon, we have a hub for a lot of companies from high tech, so and mainly startups. So this means that are a lot of people today coming to Portugal also to work in technology sector, which of course it's important, but then it brings with a problem, which is housing. Paloma, can you go, please? So we are also in renewal energy leader in UA. In fact, 80% of our product of electricity comes from solar, wind, or hydro. Because of that, we are also attracting new industries. Also because in Portugal, the energy is very cheap, which is very good when you have electro-intensive industries. For example, in Portugal today, we are creating his own industry, Calb. Calb is the second main factory producer of batteries in the world, and they are real now constructing this their factory in Portugal. So once again, this brings a lot of people to Portugal to construct things and of course to work on this industry. Paloma, please. So very easily, technology, as you probably have heard, Microsoft is investing in Portugal today, something like 10 billion euros also in AI.
Billion.
So yeah, AI, thank you. But we also have a lot of investments from Google and other companies. One of the biggest data centers is being constructed in Portugal. And this also comes because today we have a lot of communication submarine cables that are arriving to Portugal from South America, North America, the rest of Europe, and also from Africa, and also, in fact, from the Mediterranean. So this means that Portugal, it starts to be in the center of all of the routes that brings communications data from these sea cables, which is a lot of important because this means that the communication can go faster. So it's also a very nice place to put data centers, and of course, because of that, to make research and development. So this is why today we have a lot of these high-tech companies uh, coming to Portugal. Paloma, please. So this brings us to a problem, and the problem is we don't have houses. We don't have enough houses. So we still need to construct a lot of houses. Something like some say 2,000, 200,000 houses that we need. This brings to higher prices, yield compressions. We still have, of course, the long observance cycles, which means that this is the time for invest in Portugal. This is the time to buy in Portugal. This is why the yields are very nice. This is why you can invest and have a very interest rate in your projects. Paloma, please. So the government is also looking and trying to make some efforts so that investment is easier. So trying to reduce the bureaucracy. So when, as an investor, if you want to make thing in Portugal, you can do it more faster with low risk, which is very good, of course, to the investors that want to come to Portugal. Paloma, please. One of them was the simplex that it was in the other slide, but we also have the VAT for construction that brings from 23% to 6%. This makes that is also much more interesting today to make new constructions in Portugal because you can make them cheap, and of course you will keep the prices, so it's bring you also more in rentability. Paloma, please. So I would say this brings us to this huge opportunity to invest in Portugal. You can invest in just to buy an apartment. You can invest in buy a land. You can invest in buy a building, make it refurbish, and then of course sell them. There is a lot of different ways to do it, but this is the time to invest. Paloma, please. I'm not reading, of course, all the things in art that are in the slides. Then you can read them. Uh, this is also some of the drivers that makes us very important to invest today in Portugal, like the tourism, the growing. We also have this problem, in fact, which and is also very interesting to invest. Portugal today has a lot of foreigner students. There is a lot. When I say a lot, uh, hundreds or thousands of students coming from all Europe and also from United States, Brazil, from different places that are coming to our universities, and they need places to live and to stay. So today, one of the things that is also very interesting to invest in Portugal is to make these residentials places for tourists. Paloma, please, next one. So there is this kind of different ways to do. You can build to sell, to rent, make these things about students. There are a lot of reports from a lot of different international appraisals that talks about Portugal. The importance are very interesting to invest today here. As I told you, there is also this possibility to invest in logistical, data centers, energy. Paloma, please, the next one. So today, this I would say is mainly what we are doing. So we are doing site selection for housing, site selection for also investors in industry, in energy. So there's a lot of opportunities to do it. We are doing license management. We are doing the design and engineer coordination, cost control, procurement, supervision, of course, negotiation and contracting all the providers, and deliver with the performance KPIs. As Jonathan told you, there is very interesting returns on the investments that today you can do in Portugal. And I would say for me, it's this. Paloma?
All right, thank you so much, Miguel. So, as you stated, there's definitely different avenues you can take in terms of your investment. Here's a couple options that you can see that's seen as in below. We also have, new construction opportunities for those looking to enter in new construction, get better returns, as well as if you're simply looking for a buyer's agent, we're able to provide that service for you as well. And then we're going to also start our Q&A with Katarina. Katarina is our attorney here at Maven. So she is able to answer any questions about the buying process from a legal standpoint, as well as visa process. In terms of the visa, there is a couple different options. Another alternative investment is our golden visa here. You can read the information about that. It's just a minimum investment. If you're going into an investment fund, it's 500,000 euros into a Portuguese fund. This has to be an approved fund. And so if you have questions about that, you're also able to ask Catalina about that. And this slide I will send to everyone, all the participants, so you will get a summary of what we talked about, and any questions that we don't get to, I will make sure that we contact you and are able to answer those for you guys. Okay, so I will start with just a couple questions that are frequently asked for Katarina. One moment. Let me- Okay. So for the Q&A box, it's just in the bottom of your screen, and you're able to type in there to said anything yet, you have. I'm going to ask Katerina some frequently asked questions that we often get from our clients. So, first off, just if buying from abroad, buying as a foreigner, if there are any additional challenges, is it pretty much the same process as it is for Portuguese people here? What can you tell us about that, Catarina?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Paloma, for your question. In Portugal, there is no difference between a foreign investor or a local person to purchase or acquire a property. Besides your identification, you will be needing a tax number, which we call the NIF. It's the national number for taxation purposes that is used. I normally say that it's more important than your own identification number because it's required for pretty much every step that we do, from our utility bills to purchase property, which is your question. So having said that, it doesn't mean necessarily that the fact that you obtain a tax number that makes you a tax resident in Portugal. You can make an investment from abroad, have that tax number staying as a non-resident. So the fact that you have this NIF number doesn't make you a tax resident. Of course, the fact that you purchase property will entail certain tax obligations, such as paying annual property tax, which conversely to what happens in the United States, it's quite different. It's quite low compared to the situation in several states in the United States, where I heard annual property tax can be significant, which is not our case for now, at least. Besides that tax obligation, which is generated by this NIF number, you will, if you lease the property, if you put it in the market, that will entail income. In that case, you can be taxed as a resident or as a non-resident. Taxation varies. There is a package of measures made by the government in order to stimulate owners to put property in the market for lease purposes, because there is a lack of offer and there is a lot of demand, as Jonathan and Miguel have explained more and more. There is the need for housing. So there are a pack of stimulus from the government to have the landlords to put their housing in the market for lease purposes. I hope I've answered your question. So
Yeah.
Besides the NIF, it's the normal identification, and there is no difference between a national investor or a foreign investor.
And we have a question from one of our attendees. Their question is that they hear that banks do not give mortgages to people over 65. Is that true? So is there any restrictions in terms of mortgages based on age here?
Well, theoretically, mortgages entail what we call the the life insurance. Besides the property insurance, there is the life insurance. So therefore, mortgages, this would entail that the life insurance will be after 50, 55, too expensive. So it will give you problems. And normally loans go up to 70 years of age and 80 years of age in one of the banking institutions that I recall. So you can, if you are 65, you could try for a mortgage for 5 years, or in a certain bank, they will give you up to 80. There are now being launched products where after 55, they will dismiss the life insurance, which would be the reason why it would be very difficult for you to get a mortgage at 65. However, I must say that I've already been in certain projects with people with 65 with mortgage being approved with certain collaterals. So it depends on your financial scenario in order for the bank to lend you to give you a mortgage. So if we're speaking about a mortgage of 5 years, 10 years, and you have a good collateral, I see no reason for them not to give you. Of course, the life insurance would entail a negotiation in order to be waived. because otherwise it would make the operation not so attractive, let's say.
And is this something that we would be able to help with from on like our legal team?
Yes, of course, the legal team and the other parts of the team. We are in touch with all banks in the country. So if there is any need or someone that has collateral, financial collateral to give, or sees a feasibility in paying that loan in 5 years, up to 10 years maximum, we can help you, help the client with that, of course.
Okay, thank you. And so for people who are okay, thank you. So for people who are over 65 and if they're looking to relocate and retire, what would you expect to be the best route for people to purchase a home in Portugal?
Well, for the retirement, there is an option that we call it the D7 authorization of residence, which is a two-tier procedure. In one sense, it is processed abroad in the Portuguese consulates, and the person will be entering the country already with a visa that is called D7 visa. So they enter with the visa and they have 120 days to be present at the foreign agency that would give you the authorization of residency card by then. The problem is, I'm sure you have heard all that with this flux of immigrants coming in the country, although the government is making a big effort to clear up the backlog that has been generated with all this wave of immigrants, sometimes deadlines are not fulfilled from the government's end. However, as a retirement person, I would suggest that the passive income route, which is called D7, would be the most appropriate. However, having that said, a D7, which is a passive income visa, which entails the fact that you earn a pension or you have dividends from a company or you earn interests or royalties, anything that is called and designated as passive income entails the person to stay in the country for 183 days. So you come to retire and you should stay in the country at least per year 183 days. If you want more flexibility over that, then Golden Visa would give you full flexibility because you can stay the first year 7 days. And once you renovate for the second year, you'll get another 2 years and you have to stay 14 days, not in a row. You can come 1 week and then later 1 week, stay as much as you want. So the difference is that the designated golden visa, which is not in reality a visa, is the authorization of residency, entails a certain investment, as Paloma has showed in her slides, and then you can stay if you want or not. The other route entails you to stay in the country for 183 days. That's the difference.
And then another attendee asked if we also help with the D7 visa, that we do help with that. Catarina, can you explain just a bit about what the process is for them to apply and how we, Maven, helps them through that process?
Well, we do in a nutshell, because I'm not going to say all the documentation that is required. The process is filed abroad, as I said, at the nearest Portuguese consulate of the area of the residence of the applicant. And there is a number of documents, such as they must be certified into the Portuguese language. The NIF number, for example, has to be obtained. A bank account must be opened, so a certain amount of money is deposited in the Portuguese bank account as to attest at the interview stage at the consulate that these requirements are already fulfilled. So we will help the client to navigate these waters, and from what is necessary at the local Portuguese end, we do everything for the client.
And for clients who are having difficulty obtaining appointments at the consulates in the US, is there anything that like we can do on our end to help get that appointment for them?
Well, that appointment is obtained online, so you don't obtain just a document. You don't obtain just an appointment. I mean, there's documentation that needs to be prepared and processed up to that moment. So, of course, I understand there is this backlog has expanded also to the Portuguese consulates abroad, but we have to wait until that consulate has a slot, and in the meantime, documents are being processed.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions from our attendees? Are there any pathways from student visa or work holiday visa all the way to permanent residency in Portugal?
No. The student visa does not even allow you to work here. So you must be enrolled. I understand there is this, I don't know who spread this word of the student visa route that people are, all of a sudden are very interested in the student visa. This entails that you come here and you study here and you are enrolled in a program here, but you're not able to work with a student visa.
Okay. And after a student visa, are people able to, after they finish their studies, remain in Portugal and apply for a separate visa?
If they get a job, if they are with a job here, they might have the possibility that the company that hires them processes the visa. However, as you well know, recently in this past October, the government has launched new rules, and they are betting exclusively. They want high qualified professionals to step in the country. It's not that we are opening a grocery store and generating our own job that will get the authorization of residency.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? I think then that is all. Of course, if you have any other questions that weren't able to get answered or you think of something later, my email will be attached at the bottom. You're welcome to email me and we're happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. All right, thank you guys for being here. Thank you to
Thank you,
everyone who
everybody.
spoke today. Everyone have a wonderful night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.